we're reviewing the new Strokes album called the New Abnormal, and starting off is the adults are talking. DMV Thought Patrol. What did you think of the adults are talking?
Yo, I don't know who you're talking about because I'm Jake Sully, bro. Look at my jacket.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, so I like the first track on this album. I mean, we're in isolation, so it's kind of a depressing time for me personally. So I think just being able to jam out to that one instrumental, you know how it goes. It's just yeah. It's just like really feel good. It's not like quite like a surf rock riff, but it just kind of made me feel happy. I felt like I was in like a music video. I found myself like dancing around in the basement to it because that's where I have my laptop. So yeah, overall, I thought it was a strong start.
What did you think about the lyrics?
Yeah, so I don't really understand Julian Casablancas. I don't know how to pronounce his name. Julian, I assume. But no, it's hard for me to understand him. So honestly, I couldn't tell you.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, that's an issue I had with Strokes at first too. But I kind of got used to like their cadence and how they record. So yeah, I think it was a great way to start. I think it was a great way to start off the album. I thought the bass-centric instrumental was pretty. Well, I wouldn't say groovy, but it definitely had like a rhythm to it. And I think it serves as a great backdrop to Julian's vocal performance. It's very like subdued, and I also enjoyed the lyrics quite a lot. Like how he's talking about the corruption of the business world, how much like lying there is, backstabbing, misleading, and stuff like that. I thought the hook, where every line is like contradicted by either the next one or by the ending few words, was very entertaining. It was just very fun to listen to. Yeah, I wasn't like dancing or anything, but it definitely had like kind of a trance over me at first.
Yeah. Okay. No, yeah, corporate world taking over. Yeah, I'll dance to that all day. Hell yeah.
Hell yeah, brother. Okay, the next track is Selfless. What do you think about this one?
I think this is one of the ones you mentioned when we first talked about the album off camera. I thought it was like a touching song. Yeah, I think we talked about this, but like you can definitely feel, I think, the emotion in Julian's voice. I think he gets up there in his register. He's not like screaming or anything like that, but you definitely feel something, and so I appreciated that about the second track.
Yeah, I would agree. I thought the instrumental was like more of the same, but it was very refined. Like I did like the additional like synth passages and some of the cymbals in the background, but it still revolves around this like chord, this singular chord. I thought the somber approach kind of adds to like the intoxicating openness the song has. I think Julian really does a great job selling me on this like love song, because I usually don't like them because either they don't feel genuine or they feel very contrived for like just to like exploit what love is. And I know everyone has like their own different forms of love, but some of them don't like really connect with me, and maybe they don't because I'm a loser. But
I thought you were gonna say lesbian.
Yeah, wrong L word, dude. Yeah, but I thought Julian's lyrics were actually very encapsulating. I thought him singing about like this like dependency he has with someone he knew, and how it kind of like led him to a like kind of on the verge of like a breakdown, or essentially like to the point where they didn't know what to do with themselves. I thought that was very well done. Okay, next one. Brooklyn Bridge to Chorus. What do you think about this one?
I thought the title was clever for like a couple seconds, but that's pretty much all I got for you.
It would have been like called. I forgot what they're actually called, but I would have said like the real names of the bridges, or who they're like named after to Chorus.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a bad attempt at a joke. But what else? Did you like anything besides like the instrumental, or just like there anything that stood out to you with this one?
I think not quite. There might have been like a guitar riff like through it, but I mean, no, it wasn't like one of my favorites, so I didn't think too much of it. No.
Okay. Yeah. I thought after like the first two tracks sounding very vintage Strokes like, Them moving into more of a retro rock direction, kind of with these like shrieking synthesizers that are littered across the track, was a very interesting way to go sonically. I do like the guitar-driven chorus quite a lot. I think the way it sounds is just very appealing. And I also like the literal topic of like Julian reminiscing about the '80s and kind of like the friends and stuff that he's losing as he gets older because now he's struggling to make those same connections or make new friends in an era where like people are kind of like thrown to the side or they're just very busy or just they don't want to like, hang out with him. Because he does mention that he is trying, it's just not going in his favor. I will say though, I wish there was like more of a vocal pop to it, and not like pop as in like pop music, but like more of a noticeable like vocal performance with this kind of instrumental to really sell me on it. But I still thought it was really good.
Yeah, I feel like, I mean, obviously we didn't grow up in the 80s, but I think that idea of coming of age is definitely something that I can personally relate to. So I definitely appreciate that theme.
Yeah. What do you think about bad decisions?
Making bad decisions. I thought it was annoying. No,
You didn't like it?
I'm not a fan now.
No, not a fan.
No, not a fan at all. Nah.
Come on, bruv. How you not a fan of the Strokes, bruv? No, but like, yeah, I love that like head jamming like melody a lot. I think it like made me kind of look past the songwriting because it's not like as intricate or like as well fleshed out as the other tracks, but I think the groove is just so good. Okay, moving on. Eternal Summer. What do you think about this one?
This was another one I think we talked about before we recorded, but yeah, I did enjoy this one. It felt, I guess, maybe somber isn't quite the right word, but I think nostalgic maybe be a better word. So yeah, I enjoyed the vocals on this one. I was able to understand it more so than some of the previous tracks.
Yeah.
And then I thought the instrumentals were nice.
Yeah, I thought how they transitioned back to a retro sound, but with like a different like tinge or a different like color to it was pretty well done. It's very beachy, very sunshiny. There's a lot of like deep bass. There's some like very bright synthesizers and some very slick guitar chords. I think this is kind of like the classic example of like you see one face, but this is what it really means, like taking off your second mask or something. Because lyrically it's a very realism centered track, but that's like kind of masked by the '80s sound, so you're not gonna like hear it or like focus on it because you're having a good time, you're laughing and yada yada. But I think that was very very thematically well intertwined because lyrically I think Julian is talking about summer being an entity similar to like paradise or heaven that people want like out of life, but they eventually the novelty of it wears off if you have too much of it. It doesn't mean anything anymore, and that causes you to be blind to a lot more issues past your kind of desire for that peace or for that happiness. He also later like mentions a mysterious entity called them, and I thought it was a very weird thing to say at first, but I think it makes sense because the last leg of the track sounds like it's like a simulation breaking down. Like the sound gets more claustrophobic. There's more wailing sounds, and there's some like darker embellishments to really sell you that like the soundscape is like shifting. It's going from like sunshiny to like oh my I don't know what's going on. Everything's kind of getting scrambled. It's not like done in like a very high tech glitchy way like most other artists that I know that would like think of an idea like this. Definitely put a lot more attention and detail into like furthering or expanding the sound scope to actually sound demonic or otherworldly. But I think for what the Strokes' signature sound is, I thought this was a very, very welcome adventure sonically. Probably my favorite track on the album. Next, what do you think about At the Door?
Yeah, so I like the music video on this one. Like I like the animation style, and I thought it fit well with the song. I enjoyed kind of the more electronic sound that we had with it. I guess not exactly housey, but yeah, just like more electro.
Yeah.
I thought that was just kind of cool. It was definitely a step away from the sunshine and beach vibe of Eternal Summer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think you're right. I think the palette shifts to like more of an electro house tinged indie rock sound. There like the strong synthesizers, and I think the the like transition into the chorus, where like it's more string heavy or more like guitar chord heavy before like going back into the stroke and synthesizers, was a very interesting decision that they made for it, like composition wise. I did like the songwriting here. I think Julian is like performing a lot or delivering these very existential, defeated lyrics with a pessimistically optimistic tone. It's very odd to describe, but I thought it was a definitely one of the more unique vocal performances, and I think one of the more unique songs in general, just in terms of its sound, not like melody or how much I like it or the groove, just in like how they use sound as a character here. I thought the instrumental progression was pretty well paced, and it also uses some very interesting ideas, like it's the bridge from almost the last little of the track to the end into like a spacey void was very well done. You can still hear Julian like fading into the void, still like having vocalizations and things like that. Um, and I think it was a kind of like a metaphor for like death or like seeing you on the other side or something like that. I think it's definitely the most unique track on the record, sonically. Okay, next up, why are Sundays so depressing? What do you think about this one?
This is one of the ones I don't really remember too much. Yeah, I guess I thought it was relatively forgettable. Mm-hmm. Did you ever figure out why Sundays are so depressing?
Oh yeah, dude. Because Julian's favorite, or no, the Strokes live in New York, so they have to watch the Giants and the Jets play.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, no, I'm kidding. I think it's more of a reflective track that's more about like how either the band has evolved or like how people have treated them over the years, or like how like they have a standard that they just can't meet, whether it be like for a relationship with a significant other or just your fans. I can't really make it out, but I think that's like the general gist of it. But I agree with you. I think it's very forgettable. I think I know the other instrumentals besides like the two retro rock ones are pretty basic. Like they don't have a lot going on, but this one was like incredibly mundane, relatively incredibly mundane. I do like Julian's like recollective vocal performance, but like nothing grabs me about it. Like I didn't think the chorus melody wasn't all that great. I thought the verses were okay. The performance was good. It's just I think the melodic structure of those elements didn't really hit me. I don't think it's a bad song. It's just you're right. It's just not memorable and like in relation to the rest of the album. All right. What about Not the Same Anymore?
The thing I appreciated the most about Not the Same Anymore was that I could understand Julian for most of it. So that was always a plus.
Hell yeah, brother. What else? What else did you like about it?
I don't really got much else for you. I don't think I quite liked it as much as the last one.
I thought you'd say Sundays are depressing.
No, sorry. Not as in the previous one, but as in the last track on the album.
Alright, let's get back to it. Okay. I think this track like follows its predecessor track, as in like why are Sundays so depressing in terms of like its instrumental. It's not like the most in depth or a lot going on, but I think it's a lot more emotive than that one was. There's a lot more elements to it that I think bring out the potency of it. I think what made this track appealing to me was that it kind of, songwriting wise, the two songs are related. Like why are Sundays so depressing is kind of like how people are treating them, how they have standards they can't live up to. And in this track, Julian is kind of being very implicative about himself. He's talking about all the relationships he got out of or relationships that didn't last because of his own behavior. So things like his like egotistical attitude or his like inability or lack of desire to change. And the vocals actually don't go on that long on the record or on the track, because I think the last like minute and a half or 2 minutes are just like purely instrumental. But I think the prolonged instrumental actually had a very, very unique tone of like regretfulness to it. It really is like sells me on the idea that this is not something like he got over or something he's like, oh, I've accepted who I am. it's more like something that's like ongoing. And I thought conveying that through that last instrumental passage was kind of brilliant.
I know you mentioned earlier how, I guess, the themes of love in this album felt a little more real. And I feel like him going over, I guess, his regrets with past relationships and, I guess, owning up to his own mistakes definitely, I guess, gives it, I don't know, gives the idea of love a bit more of a full, like, perspective. And it's not, like, dishonest or cliched or them just trying to sell you something. Like, it sounds like they're definitely trying to be real with it, which I definitely appreciate.
It's like someone is trying to sell me something. Yeah, but I agree. Okay, and it moves on to the closer, Ode to the Mets. How'd you like this one?
I enjoyed this one. Obviously, it was sadder, but I think what's I guess I enjoyed the most was so like you know that baseball like arena thing, the thing that goes like da na 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 na.
Yeah.
So it sounds like they took that like on a synthesizer or something, and then like I don't know, toned it down or just made it like much more somber, and then just kind of played that over the track.
Oh, that's
Like yeah.
Did you like the vocal performances or maybe the lyrics if you understood them?
I think let me listen through part of it again real quick, but I'm pretty sure that I did enjoy the vocal performance of it too.
Sure.
Yeah, I did. It was just kind of just somber is the word I would go with. Yeah, I thought it worked for me to end the track.
Okay.
But I kind of like sadder stuff usually. So.
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I think the way of closing it and how it's a very bleak and quiet song. I think it's because of like kind of the gaunt chords and synthesizers, like you said. I do like the vocal performance because they range from like being very subdued to remorseful, and on certain like subsects of the song, and I think that adds a lot to like the melancholic atmosphere or feeling of the closer. I thought the outro was great. The track like loudens up a little bit, and there's like a bit more open instrumentation. Like the sound palette kind of it doesn't like expand, but it's a bit more open in closing out the record. And I thought Julian's like lastingly retrospective verse was interesting. Yeah, so I think it was a great closer. Okay. Overall, what did you think?
You know what? I'll give it a 10 out of 10. I stroked the Strokes.
Yeah, I agree. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, but I think this is like the best Strokes record in a while. I thought Calm Down Machine was decent, but nothing too fancy. And I thought Angle...
Was that their last album?
Yeah, it came out I think in like 2013, 15, I don't remember. But like I think they had like...
Has it been 7 years?
Yeah, it's been quite a while.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I think they were able to rekindle their traditional sound by refining a lot of the elements that made the Strokes so popular to begin with back in the 2000s. And while there are more influences of like synthwave and retro rock, they are like very well explored. They don't feel like, oh, let's make a synthwave song just because it's new, or let's make a retro rock sound just because it's new, or that's what everyone likes. It feels like they added their own spin to it. And what else? I will say like I think I listened to the album like 3 times, and I will say like the last 3 songs are very like lethargic instrumentally. Like they're very basic. They don't go anywhere. And while I did say I did enjoy the last 2 songs instrumentals, I do wish they were a bit more expansive or more adventurous to kind of bring out maybe more ambition in my book, because I know this is like a sound that the Strokes are genuinely known for, and I think they pull it off very well. But for me personally, I initially thought, hey, I want something more. I want more weird stuff. Where's the screaming? Where's the glitchy electronics? Where's the the frickin' dragon folk or something? I don't know. But I realized like I can go listen to the Voids for that. Like they have a very off the wall kind of creative approach to music. The Strokes are a lot more refined, as I've said, and a lot more traditional. But yeah, I think for the most part, I think they did very well. This is a great album to come out with after almost nearly a decade of like having subpar material, just not having any material at all. My real rating would be an 8.5. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, I already gave it the 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10.
That's straight to the chicks.
Alrighty. Well, that was fun. Make sure you subscribe to
Jake Sully.
DMV Thought Patrol right here. No, I'm kidding. Subscribe. His content is terrible.
Yeah, it's awful. Please don't.